The moment your country is free, Israel's top water experts will flood into every city. Israel is the #1 recycler of water in the world.
Drink our pee.
We recycle 90% of our wastewater.
Drink our pee. Yeah, I think he goes, listen, would you like Sydney Sweeney to come for a wet t-shirt contest? You need water. You don't have water, but you can turn your pee into water and throw it on Sydney Sweeney. Bada bing, bada boom, overthrow your government.
It's the best pitch ever.
Everyone's like, yeah, what'd you just say? Well, I wasn't thinking about fighting, but
you can sin.
Freedom to sin. I mean... Welcome to Loaded Talk. I am your congressman, the third most popular candidate to ever be. I am Frank, and along with me, as always...
What's up, planet Earth? I'm Bean.
Bean LLC, the holding company. Hold me, Charlie.
It's a little different. I like it.
Well, after revealing your treacherous company last week, we have to just make sure everybody's aware. Your involvement in the Russiagate hoax, getting all that money from... the name I already forgot. That's written in that notebook over there because I forgot it. So I guess might as well just jump into that to start. So there's a couple things that are sort of like, I guess you could classify them as just updates, but they have some potential to, be more than that. Something with the whole Israel conflict. I don't even know what you call this thing in Gaza. And Iran, for that matter. But, anyway, that, and then Russiagate. So that we don't get you distracted on BB too soon. All right. So last week we kind of meandered through a lot of the different players involved in the Russiagate hoax about how the Clinton team put together, false information, and the Obama administration helped launder it through intelligence agencies to the press to give it, make it look legit when they knew it was not legit. So that was sort of a big thing. And someone's trying to break in the house, clearly. It's probably a baby. Anyway, so one of the things that they talked about, like why even have this whole Russian collusion thing? Well, it was for Hillary to distract from the emails, right? And we talked about how Hillary and Bill got a little cash from the Clinton Foundation, right? And so there was like $150,000, give or take, in order to help secure a purchase of uranium-1. It was like through a Canadian company, but essentially for the Russians. And then other malfeasance, a lot of pay-to-play stuff, right? Well, Kash Patel, I guess, released a memo today. I guess we can just go ahead and cut to it. Hey, what the hell? Yeah, there we are. All right.
Weird.
All right, so this is just the news. FBI Director Kash Patel uncovered a bombshell memo written in 2017 chronicling the extensive political obstruction that career agents in 3 cities faced from their own bosses and the Obama Justice Department during the 2016 election as they probed whether Hillary Clinton engaged in pay-to-play corruption, a scheme involving her family foundation. So let's see. So the agents tried to get help of federal prosecutors to determine whether or what crimes occurred while Hillary Clinton served as Secretary of State, most notably because at that time her family foundation solicited hundreds of millions of dollars from foreign and U.S. interests with business before her department. So like we talked about, all of a sudden the U.S. policy changed when you gave some good cash. So there's a timeline written by a Department of Justice lawyer, which here, I'll just show you what it looks like real quick here, because they got a PDF. Blink. This is all redacted, all the names, but this is literally the Clinton Foundation meeting timeline. So this is an internal memo detailing every meeting that the FBI had about the Clinton Foundation investigation. Still going, huh? This is a 6-page memo that starts in, when is it, 2016? Yeah, hold on. 2015. Looks like summer of 2015 through fall, and then it ends in 2017. So they were, I don't know how to go back. Hit the backspace there. Or escape maybe. Anyway, let's get this here. We'll go back to normal. But there we go. Basically, his memo. So Justin News breaks it down because it's a tedious read with all the redacted stuff. But to summarize what happened is there's FBI agents in Arkansas and in, I want to say, New York. Anyway, 3 different places. And so this dude's book, Clinton Cash, I think it's called. This guy's a good, like a good investigative journalist. Where is it? I want to give the dude credit, not that he needs it from us, as he's much more well known than we are. A Clinton Cash by Peter Schweitzer. Okay, so he wrote this whole book on, how corrupt everything was. And so, Southern District of New York, Eastern District of New York. So they started digging into it a little bit. And they go, well, it looks like something's here. They read the Clinton Cash book. And they go, well, let's start looking at this stuff. Apparently Schweitzer, his big thing in that book, I don't know if it's always, it might be always, because it's kind of what he does, is he uses documents and on the record, like named people. He won't use anonymous sources. He might use them and verify them to then find source documents and stuff like that. But he likes to have it tied up pretty tight, So it's not just, I heard a rumor in the hallway, and then someone else had heard the rumor too. Boom, corroborated. So apparently he was just open kimono. Here's all the documents we got. And so they start digging into this thing, and they go, maybe this needs to be more of a criminal referral. At first it was what did they call it at first? A public, I don't know, something like a public well-being. God, why are they? Sorry, my resolution got cruddy there. Anyway, so they started off as like an inquiry into like public service corruption, basically. And then they go, actually, I think this might be more of like a criminal investigation. And so Andrew McCabe, who was I think he was deputy, he was the assistant director in charge of the FBI's Washington field office, but soon ascended to deputy director of the FBI under Comey. So he was Bongino's role. And then Kash Patel was Comey in this one. Which maybe they can reenact it. It'll be like Hamilton for the FBI. But McCabe at some point was just like, listen, you can't take any additional investigative steps without my express permission. So you have to reach out to me, tell me what you want to do, and then I have to say, yes, you may do that before it can move forward. So some people would reach out and go, hey, we'd like to do this, and it was just crickets. And then at some point, these people were told by this woman named Sally Yates, the Deputy Attorney General. Deputy Attorney General of the United States. So, basically right under the chief prosecutor for the person who's going to prosecute the case in court. She said, shut it down. And so throughout this whole thing, it got stymied. It never got off the ground. And then even into Trump getting into office, suddenly people were worried about like statute of limitations. Is there something here anymore? And even though like at some point Trump said, no, look into anything, look at your, like, no breaks. A lot of the people who had kind of gotten the ball rolling, they were like, that's turn the page, start a new chapter. Like, this has been a mess. Technically speaking, we still need express permission from the deputy director's office. We still technically have not gotten that, which was during the first Trump administration. That was a big thing in lots of different departments is, Trump would say, do something, but the people who would need to enact that something, they technically, even if they were like in the executive branch, although Trump is the boss man, they can't really do anything until their bosses say something, And so it's one of those things, what do I do in this situation, So they kind of were like, well, I guess let's just turn the page. Like, she got away with it. She didn't win the presidency. Whatever, like, if she would have become president, it might have been a giant problem, but she didn't win. So, now it's just past corruption, and let's just look at new stuff, Eventually, McCabe got fired by the Trump administration. He was one of the people that stayed in. So, like Comey, people came in, and then they got canned. I think Jeff Sessions fired McCabe. So that's kind of the new update from, is this today, yesterday? What's the date on this? The 13th. That's yesterday. So, yeah, that was a big thing, Just the News. They've been kind of on top of this. So, obviously, there's some happy little source that's feeding them information. But, yeah, so that's something. Our FBI legitimately saw that there was enough to begin a criminal investigation to the Clinton Foundation, and they weren't even allowed to begin it. Yeah.
What's the point in having them then?
That's a great question, Charlie. It's almost like they're inherently a political office and not really a law enforcement agency at all. It's almost like that.
I mean, they're arresting people for throwing Subway sandwiches now.
They are. I think we have that video later. There was something else, a little update. There was, who was this? There's a declassified document from Tulsi showing that, like, basically there was some debate about the report, the Russiagate report, Trump collusion report, and I don't know what is up with this resolution. There we go. What the hell? It's just weird. Anyway, basically, Clapper, Clapper, who was the director, the DNI, so he had Tulsi's role. And so he was like, people like, hey, we need some more time on this. This doesn't follow normal standards. Like, if we discover these sorts of things, like, cool. But, we need time on this. This is too much. Like, we can't, like, commit to this. And basically Clapper says, like, hey, this is a team sport. We really need the whole team on this. And then, it's like, this is the ultimate, and what does it say? We have one chance to hold on. There's a really stupid line in here.
Yeah, it's the last one, I think.
Such compromise, more chance to do. Wait, here's a team sport. Posterity. Like, he literally says team sport. Wait, what the hell? Where is it? Yeah, cool. Damn. I should have highlighted it. But he said, I'm going to find it later. But yeah, I don't know. They squashed it, and they just said that it was like the best that they had. Oh, that's what he said. He said, this is, pulling a page out of That's Our Story, and I'm sticking to it. He put it in a memo. That's our story, and we're sticking to it. And we need everybody on board for this. So, Clapper, head of the DNI, his instructions copied with Comey and whoever the hell. Who's the other guy in here? Clapper, Comey, and Brennan, of course, CIA. So they're all there. They're all copied on this thing. And the memo says, that's our story. We're sticking to it. It's a team sport. And schedule's important. We can't take our normal amount of time with this. Schedule is important. So it's just, once again, another like minor update document that shows that these people were actively constructing this false thing for the purposes of undermining a legitimately elected president and possibly getting him thrown out of office, starting an impeachment proceeding. And it did. I mean, it hampered his first term greatly, you know. But it's just there's more, you know, smoking guns that this. I mean, to say this was anything but a conspiracy against Trump is, I mean, it's foolish. You would have to be so blinded with a dislike of Donald Trump to be like, nah, it's fine. You know, he's still a Russian agent. Like it's all more that comes out, the more it's very clear that this was constructed by Hillary, promoted by the Obama administration, and CIA, FBI, and the DNI all laundered it through their systems, cut corners, told agents to behave in ways that they have always been told not to behave, and then pushed it out to the masses to basically lie to all of us and, you know, kind of do a covert coup like has happened in some other countries.
I think it said the NSA was involved too at some point in this article.
Yeah, let's see what we got.
I can't remember where.
In addition, if NSA is intended, so this, I think Rogers was working for the NSA. He said, if NSA is intended to be a co-author of this product, I personally expect to see even the most sensitive evidence related to the conclusion. And he's like, nah, sign the paper.
Wow.
Yeah, he's like, look, if you want me to sign, like NSA, just show me the sensitive documents. Like, show me what it is. If he really is a Russian, you know, plant, like, done, no problem. Clapper's like, sign the paper.
Tell me you're lying without telling me you're lying, you know?
It's the balls on these people, you know? I mean, you know, Trump is wild and loose with facts sometimes, you know? Yeah, he says things that he feels are true. And maybe sometimes in spirit they might be true. Sometimes it's just stuff. There's stuff coming out of his mouth, you know? And so, you know, Obama being a Kenyan citizen, that was a big Trump thing before he ran for president. And, you know, he really was on that conspiracy, and he's been on a couple things, and you go, so sometimes you go, it's a conspiracy against me, you know, your favorite president, the greatest president. These people are just conspiring against me because they hate Trump. He always puts his name out there. They hate Trump. But in this case, yeah, that's what it was. And, you know, it's a sitting president and a sitting vice president. Their entire law enforcement and intelligence apparatus. I mean, we have the Attorney General's office. So we have the law enforcement and we have the prosecutor. All those offices were also corrupt. And whether specifically instructed by Susan Wright or Loretta Lynch or Obama, like wherever the buck stops, like at some point it was in Obama's office and Biden was there and Susan Rice was there. And like if after that, you know, you don't have to give many words, it's like, all right, we're gonna push this thing through, right? And you just say it the one time. Well, after that, Susan Rice can tell Loretta Lynch what's up, and then she'll know what to do. Like she goes, okay, well, don't do this, don't do that. And, you know, you got Comey in there, you got Clapper in there anyway. They already know it. They don't need to be told how to manage each step from there. Of course, Biden and Obama won't face any issue other than maybe catching some flack. And apparently one of the big reasons Obama said he wanted to, I don't remember if we did this last week, but one of the big reasons he was in favor of glossing over the email scandal with Hillary Clinton is because he was about to leave office and he really wanted to be able to make the case that he was scandal free. You know, that whole tan suit's the only scandal thing. Like that was very much a concern. He did not want in the 11th hour this big scandal that his Secretary of State was hiding her emails from everyone and none of her communications unless they were with someone in government, and those communications are FOIA-able. You know, it was all just hidden and also for sale. Because there's no way Obama didn't know what Hillary was doing. There's no way that, I mean, all of them knew. I think, because when Biden was chosen as the VP, one of the knocks on him was he was the poorest senator in Congress. You know, maybe the poorest congressman, but I think the poorest senator. Where it's like, so you've been in office, 40 years or whatever, and like you haven't bettered your position at all. And I'm not even saying by corruption, but I don't know, write a book, give some speeches. You're senator. Like you could cash flow it a little bit. Definitely the book thing, but Joe Biden writing. He was known for plagiarism. That probably means writing's not his strong suit.
He couldn't even write a book.
He couldn't write a speech. He had to quit, I think, 2 presidential races for ripping off. Or definitely one, he stepped down because he ripped off a Brit's speech. And then I think maybe there's a second one where it happened, or maybe when he was just giving a speech as senator or something. But he's ripped off a couple speeches, like, verbatim speeches. That sounds good. And, it's the 70s or 80s. Like, no one's going to know that that's a British speech. We don't have the internet. But he was broke. And so people knocked it as like, God, you're just not like you don't have a business of your own that's making money. You haven't done anything but just sit here in DC and just kind of mooch and go, that's good enough for me. And so, but then suddenly as VP, then like towards the end, all right, that money starts rolling in. All of a sudden, Hunter's on boards. There's all this stuff going. And so I think as vice president, he got a glimpse into what Hillary would never have let him see otherwise. And he is like, I can build something like that. I need to do something like that. And it began. So, yeah. Good old Honest Joe. All right, let's see. So those are some little updates on what's happening. I mean, what do you think anything's going to come, like, with these documents coming out, and they're referring them to Pam Bondi's office, and they're seeking a conspiracy charge so that the statute of limitations doesn't run out. And for every time that Clapper or Brennan goes on TV and goes, nope, that didn't happen at all like that. It happened, exactly the way I said so. They're able to keep the clock going on the conspiracy charges because it doesn't start until you stop conspiring, So they got time, but I mean, do you think anybody's going to catch a charge, and do you think it'll have any effect on anything?
If anybody catches a charge, it's going to be somebody down the totem pole. It definitely will not be Hillary or anybody of the likes. But at some point, somebody will probably, I don't know, do some community service. But
yeah, because that's the thing. You go. Hillary says, well, we did Oppo research. We hired people for Oppo research, and that was that. We were just, we got information. We used it for the campaign. What's wrong with that? And anybody that worked for a campaign can probably go with that same thing. It's like, we thought it was good information, And then, so then you got to get into the administration side. Obama will be fine just because he's protected with all the presidential exemptions and crud, and by extension, I'm sure that means Biden will be fine. But I wonder about Brennan and Clapper and Comey. Like, I would love to see an FBI guy or a CIA guy or a DNI guy hit the clink. That would be great. I don't think it'll happen. And then I just don't know. Like, and I also just don't know if it will even change the narrative at all. I didn't pull it up, but this one girl, 40-year FBI agent, she's been doing a bit of a press tour saying, I wrote the intelligence community assessment, and she's been on thinking, oh, this is the author of it, and she's like, I wrote it, it's true, this is all lies from the White House and lies from the DNI's office and all that, just it's lies. Well, then they release like, hey, you didn't write it. Like I think the Blaze or somebody asked 3 different people at the FBI, on background, And they're like, she didn't write it. Like, I don't know why she's saying she wrote it. She didn't write it. And I think maybe a document was released too that showed she didn't write it. So someone's like, hey, what about this? She goes, well, I turned in research that the report was based on, the ICA was based on. So I didn't actually write the assessment, but I was there when we briefed whoever the hell, maybe Obama or something. We briefed up with that report that then became part of the assessment. So you go, all right. So she got her security clearance revoked today or yesterday or whatever. They just said, all right, you're done. So I don't know. I just wonder, like, I don't know if it'll change perception among at least Democrat voters, you know, that the Russia stuff was all faked, and not just that it was fake, but all these people lied to you on purpose. Because that's the other part is, like, because of team politics, that's the important part. Not that the Russia thing wasn't real. We've kind of known that. I mean, the Mueller report basically said it's not real. But it's that, you know, Obama and Biden and Hillary and Comey and Clapper and Brennan, et cetera, set out to lie to you, give you bad information, to get you to react a certain way in order to jump the way they want you to jump. They were manipulating you. And that's the thing. I don't know if that will communicate.
Well, yeah, and I just the other reason I don't see anyone, well, especially like the FBI or the CIA, is because then, you know, optics-wise, it just makes the whole or the agency look bad for the current administration. So then they'll have to defend that. Yeah,
and you know, the first time Trump ran, you know, the lock her up, because he was talking about the emails and corruption or whatever. And we got elected. He goes, he's like, you know, this is America. We don't arrest our political opponents. We're just gonna. She lost. Whatever. See you in the past. And which I think was politically was probably the right move, because he didn't have the political willpower to get Hillary locked up, and he obviously didn't have the FBI on his side since Comey and McCabe were still there. And so, you know, it would have been impossible. But you know, it was one of those things. It's kind of everybody was sure she was corrupt, and so it's kind of a gracious, like, hey, you know, you'll never be president. That's your jail, you know. But you know, she's still been being her, and like, you know, calling him a Russian stooge and all that kind of stuff for years. And so, like, I wonder if, the slander type laws are difficult when you're a public person, you know. But if you're able to show that she knowingly has been lying, maybe you can hit civil court. Maybe you can get some of that Clinton Foundation cash, you know. Get some of Bill's money for the dames, you know. I was about to say all sorts of things, and I decided not to do it to try and keep us in
his saxophone fund.
His saxophone, exactly. It's Bill's fund for blowing his horn. That's exactly what it is. That's that's the nice way to put it. Hey, he plays the saxophone.
Yeah, he does.
Blowing Bill's horn. That's what I'm talking about.
A lot of people play it.
Yeah, I'm sure he's a good teacher. I'm sure he's very helpful with, anybody that's interested.
Some one-on-one lessons.
Yeah, you know, somebody came up and was just like, oh, you play the saxophone? That's cool. I'd love to blow your horn. He'd be like, I'll show you right now. It's like, maybe we can hang out later, too. Do it again sometime. Like, I don't know. Maybe. Just, you know, you just need a little bit of bankroll. Pay for them nice dinners. Or at least, I don't know. He did get away with. Okay. Little conspiracy theory jump. I heard someone say that they thought Monica Lewinsky, Mossad agent.
Huh.
Yeah. Have you not heard anybody say this before?
Well, no. Now that I think about it, that's very interesting.
Yeah. So, like, you know, young intern. Go, you know, everyone knows how Bill is. Young intern. And you get the American president in a compromising situation. That maybe you can blackmail him.
That would mean old Linda Tripp would have been too.
Well, Linda Tripp may have been,
Because she was kind of the driver of it.
I think that might have upset the apple cart, right? Because, like, say you wanted to hold it against them to get some sort of goodwill. Say, I don't know, you're in the middle of negotiating a 2-state solution that you really don't want any part of. And it's looking pretty good. People like this president here. The idea of peace in the Middle East, everyone always loves. And maybe it's getting too much traction. You go, well, I need to be able to pull this escape hatch. And I'm just kind of riffing off the top of my head, so all this might be nonsense. But we go, okay. So now you get your gal in there, and you go, hey man, you maybe we're done with these negotiations, or maybe the world needs to know what's been going on. And Bill is not an iron will type of guy. He's a finger in the air, go with the flow. He's not here to fight the hard fight. He's here to win, whatever that looks like. As long as he's smiling, he's good. And so then, like, you go, all right, we're going to let everyone know about this horrid affair. And then, unfortunately, Linda Tripp, which now when I picture her, I only picture John Goodman because he played her on Saturday Night Live.
He did, I remember.
But yeah, maybe she blew up the spot and was just like, I caught you. Maybe Monica wasn't it, or maybe that's how the information got leaked. Maybe they go, yeah, you don't think it's gonna happen? Well, here we go. And instead of Monica going to the press, she tells someone she thought was a confidant. I mean, she kept the dress.
Good point.
Like, why? Like, that was one of the grossest things about the trial. It's like, you didn't, like, wash it? Like, I get, like, you go, hey. Like, maybe one day you want to tell your grandkids, hey, that's old Bill Clinton's stain on that dress,
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Why would you keep it?
I don't know. It's gross.
That has to be why.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't have to be, but heard it here. Heard it here first, folks. People are like, no. People have been talking about it for 20 years. Y'all are so behind on this. Like, whatever. Okay, well, that was a little turn for fun. I was hoping that you would have some deep dive. I've spent 40 days on this.
Now I will.
40 days and 40 nights lost in the desert of Monica Lewinsky's mouth.
That's another conspiracy.
Wait, what?
What's her face from 40 Days, 40 Nights? The car accident? I can't remember her name now, the actress. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
We went off.
Halle Berry?
No. She... I cannot remember her name now.
IMDb, that thing.
But it was such an odd accident.
Okay.
There's like footage and stuff of... I don't want to get into it because this will be a rabbit hole.
All right. Fair enough. All right. Well, speaking of getting into things, I feel like it has to do with this more than all the crime stats, but Trump's Doge associate, young Mr. Big Balls, he has come to fame as that was supposed to be the death blow to Doge and his career, and it elevated him. But he's a young man. The recent picture he's, I guess, in his 20s or something. So he's smart, very smart. But I guess there's been a couple different stories going around. I saw one where someone said that he intervened. Another one said it was his date. But either way, 3 a.m. D.C., after dinner, either he's walking along and he sees this, but I think him and his date were getting to this car. And, a group of teenagers came up and basically were like, we gotta take that car, And so he pushed his date into the car, closed the door. So now, whether it's his date or a random woman on the street or whatever, but either way, she's locked in the car. She's safe. And then he proceeds to just get the tar beat out of him. When you see him, he looks pretty skinny. It makes sense that he lost the fight. It also looks like a lot of the blood probably came from getting punched in the nose. So it probably wasn't as bad as it looked in that, if you got your nose bleeding, you look like a bloody mess even if it's not that bad. And cops showed up quick enough, it sounded like, so they put a little bit of a beating on him. Cops were like, hey! And then everybody scattered. And, of course, they all got away because that's how teenagers do. Later, they were able to arrest a male and female suspected perpetrator out of the group. I don't know how many there were, but there's more than one. Shortly thereafter, Trump declared an emergency here. And we'll just let old Donnie boy, the pipes they're calling. We'll hear his little blurb. I like how he makes all these people stand there. Kash Patel always looks like he's in a hostage video, but Hegseth kind of does too. Yeah,
like he's trying to signal people.
Yeah, my head's over Cash's eyes. Oh, well. Y'all just have to believe. Look it up yourself. All right.
I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back.
Taking it back to the old school.
Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting.
Oh, no, real quick. I love when there's times like that where he does that. He's like, he's reading, it's like, the blah, blah, blah law of 19. Y'all know what that is, right? He's like, I know clearly. I said it, but you don't know what it is. It's like, I definitely didn't just learn of it 7 minutes ago. He's like, because what he did is he's like, this is crazy. He's like, can't we do something about this? And then someone looked up like, well, actually, the da-da-da law. He's like, that's the thing? All right. Yeah, let's see if there's anything else in this.
Meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening, and they've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly.
You look confused that they've done it before, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what he's referring to.
Yeah, it's like, because they haven't.
I'm announcing
the only thing
historic
I can
action
think
to...
Right. The only thing I can think of is that he means like Pam Bondi's been the attorney general for a state, and probably before then, maybe she was a prosecutor for state or county or whatever, So that's the only thing I can think of is that these people work their way up, so maybe they've done municipal level things. So yeah, Trump says we're going to federalize DC again. And so, mixed reactions. A little bit about Section 740 of the Home Rule Act. So basically it says that if there's an emergency and like serious crime does count as an emergency for this particular thing, that Trump can take over, or not Trump, that the president can take over the police for 48 hours with notice and all that kind of stuff. And then, let's see. And then let's see. So, subject to the provision of subsection C of this section, such services may be available in accordance with subsection A of this section shall terminate upon the end of such emergency, the expiration of a period of 30 days following the date. But the 48 hours, let's see, the president may deem necessary and appropriate. Let's see. In no case, however, shall such services be made available pursuant to any such direction, in excess of 48 hours. So what would that say? Let's see. So the President of the United States determined that special conditions of an emergency nature exist which require the use of the Metropolitan Police Force for federal purposes. He may direct the mayor to provide them. So basically, he can direct the mayor to give them access to the Metropolitan Police for federal crimes for a 48-hour period. and then like they can kind of stay. Let's see. Understanding.
For 30 days.
Yeah, the Congress service. Notwithstanding the foregoing provisions of the section, in any case in which such services are made available in accordance with the provision of subject, and in Congress, such service should still terminate at the end. So there's the 30-day. What's that?
Legal jargon.
Yeah, I thought I had a good grasp on it, but I think the emergency overall can last for 30 days, but you can still, but the Metropolitan Police are only at your disposal for a 48-hour period. And it's to still for federal law enforcement. But the interesting thing about this is he's declaring the emergency, right? But he's not asking the mayor to give him the Metropolitan Police for 48 hours. Okay, so that he hasn't done it yet. So that hasn't happened. What he's doing is he's directing the federal agencies to intervene at local law enforcement levels to assist the Metropolitan Police, which technically is not against the rules, and he can do it for 30 days. And it's clear that, well, it's not clear. It seems like he either wants to take a month and get D.C. in shape and let the cops go from there, or he's hoping that the Republicans repeal the home rule legislation, re-federalizing D.C., which this was passed in, do you have it in here? 1973. So, yeah, so before 1973, they didn't have their own city council, mayor, all that kind of stuff. It was a federally run, like Congress was in charge of everything from pothole repair to all that kind of stuff.
Oh, joy.
Well, yeah, and actually that was one of the motivations. It was bipartisan in how it was home rule was passed. It was during the Nixon administration. But one of the motivators for a lot of people was just simply being tired of dealing with municipal level stuff. You know, like potholes and crime and whatever else. They're just like, oh, we don't want to do this. Oh. So it was an easy sell when they were just, well, you got like, you got Martin Luther King saying, like, this is a civil rights issue. Like, D.C. needs to be able to, because it was, heavily black population. And so it's like they need to have their own representation, which right now they're not really represented. They don't have government representation at all because they don't have a congressperson, and they don't have a mayor. And they've got, like, this kind of council of federal people. But it was kind of a city that was... there was no elected person that was answerable, really. And like, if you didn't like what the senator of South Carolina was doing to run law enforcement or the potholes or whatever, you can complain, but you don't vote that guy in, And so I think Trump might be wanting the Republicans to push to repeal this thing.
But why?
Yeah. I think the idea is to show law and order. We're going to fix this city. And, huzzah. This is what it looks like. Could be also just, ego. That could be a big thing, just ego. Like, we're going to crack down. We're going to solve this thing. I'll show you what for. I'll show you how to run a police thing. And then he can draw a comparison. But, well, I guess he's not going to run for re-election. But, you get a Newsom or Shapiro or even city-level people, if a New York mayor or something like that were to run, and you go, you've let your state or your city or whatever go to squalor for this many years. Look at your crime stats. We've run D.C. for 3 years, and look at the numbers. Look how they've improved, if you can. So, I don't know. That's all I can think. I think most of this is a reaction to his homie getting whooped like near the Capitol and him being like, "This is ridiculous." Yeah, I don't know. But so in the beginning, when our country was a fledgling new nation, we had temporary spots. The capital was in New York, capital was in Philadelphia. It kind of, bounced a couple places. States in the South said we want a more central location. It shouldn't be in the Northeast. It's the hardest place to get to from down here. And so that was one motivation for moving it. But one day, the government, so the capital, all the elected people, are in Philadelphia. And I guess some of the soldiers had not been getting paid. And so a bunch of them, armed, marched on the Capitol to demand back pay and all that. Well, it's in Philadelphia. So Philadelphia law enforcement, Philadelphia, militia or whatever they have at that time, could step in. Pennsylvania, they could step in, but they went, we're going to let the boys go, because these are our homies, and they haven't been paid. Like, we know their families. They're hungry. You actually do owe them money, so we're busy. And so these guys stormed basically January 6th, the thing, but with guns, and demanded back pay. I forgot to see how that resolved, but I bet you they got paid. And so after that, there was this thought where they were like, well, we can't put our safety at risk by depending on a city or a state that might want to squeeze us, because this time is about back pay. And but what if Pennsylvania really wants some policy to move forward? Congress says no, president says no, like no one really supports it, and they go, yeah, well, whatever it is, like maybe all the roads get torn up outside the Capitol, maybe this, maybe that. So they said, all right, we need a district. It's not really a city. It's not really a state. It's just a district to hold the Capitol functions. And that way it's kind of free of all this crud. We will run our own police. We will maintain it. And, of course, that was before lobbyists and everybody else moved to D.C. and made it such a big, nasty, gross city. It was just a place to have the Capitol. So it was... So for a while, that's how it was run. It was just Congress was in charge of it. And now it's not. And, I get torn with these things sometimes. You go, all right. So the founders thought this was the best policy. So inherently I go, all right, well, let's lean towards accepting that as the best policy. But then in execution, like now it's a big city with lots of people. And our Congress people are impotent and stupid. They're not going to be able to manage anything, If a city government has trouble, like the federal government's going to have lots of trouble, And so I go, it just doesn't seem like a good idea. It does seem like people should be able to have a city council if they want one. It's one thing if you go, all right, just, I don't know what, but it's, it doesn't seem... It doesn't, and I know that's adding another layer. Well, it's how it is now. So, you go, you can get rid of a layer of government. But the local government layer is actually the important one. The federal government layer is the least important one. And so it just seems like you probably should have some sort of competent leadership, right? Speaking of competent leadership, I don't know. What are your thoughts on federalizing DC versus not?
I always have the extreme forward-thinking vision that this is just some sort of test, and that, like, the underperforming cities you've mentioned will be the next testing grounds.
I've heard people express that concern or that hope.
Oh, God.
Well, I've heard people talk about it as like, well, if this goes well, if they clean up the crime in D.C. and everything gets good, like maybe we can use it to clean up Chicago.
Please, no.
I know. Well, and so, like, a couple of things like this home rule thing is specifically for the District of Columbia. So like the Chicago and Illinois, they've got their charters and constitutions and all that kind of stuff. So it shouldn't be possible to just... run the ATF and the Parks Department and all these people to just hop in there and do stuff that shouldn't be possible. Doesn't mean they won't try, but it shouldn't be legally. I wouldn't imagine you can just declare an emergency, a federal emergency that exists in Chicago. You know, like the mayor can do a Chicago emergency, the governor can do an Illinois emergency, the president can do a national emergency, and District of Columbia is just this quirky little area that he's got that power there too. But God, surely the executive branch of the federal government can't do that.
I hope so.
Yeah. So, oh no, did I forget to send the thing? I did. Oh wait, or is it no, that's Netanyahu. Well, so basically what they've been doing looks a lot like stop and frisk. They got all these like checkpoints where they just, I guess, are randomly pulling over cars and asking to see their ID or something. It looks like a lot of, they call them checkpoints. They're set up in the road, barricades and lights in like every department you can imagine. And it looks like they're just randomly stopping people who are driving.
In D.C.?
In D.C., which is when you talked about them throwing sandwiches or whatever.
Yeah.
Those are the protests. The protests, which some of these are paid again, but they had all these flyers go out there and bang pots and pans at night, every night. Let them know how much you hate it. You go, okay, well, that's going to make everyone hate you.
Right.
That's the thing I don't get about lefty protesters. They only pick things that everyone's going to hate. Like, we're going to block the roads. Say, well, so I can't get to work or pick my kid up from daycare or that ambulance can't get through. Like, I hate you, and I hope you fail and get run over. Say, well, we're going to go to a museum and desecrate fine art by throwing tomato soup on it or paint or something. And you just go, I don't know how that does anything for anything. Don't ruin the 300-year-old artwork, please.
Museum curator's like, oh.
Seriously, guess who runs the museum? They're all lefties. You're causing problems for people who vote like you, who probably agree with you, and all they want you to do is not destroy the priceless artwork. It's a slice of history and culture and all this kind of stuff, and because you want less carbon in the air, you're going to go take something that someone works really hard on that has been appreciated by people for hundreds of years to the point that we put it in this museum. People come from all over the globe to look at it, and you're just going to be like, me, I'm going to glue my hand to it. And you go, ugh. Just hate you so much. I don't know why. Like, the right-wing protests tend to be people wearing American flag shirts and waving flags and singing Lee Greenwood or whatever. And a bunch of old dudes, just like, yeah, America, Constitution. And, like, say what you will about it, but at least they stand on the sidewalks and they tend to pick up their own trash, And you can say what they're saying is stupid or uninformed or whatever you want to say. They're not blocking ambulances and defiling artwork, Anyway, I just hate them so much. A lot of people reacted to this DC stuff. Instead of just saying, like, I'm opposed to this, I don't think it's a good idea. A lot of people are going, well, actually, they're lying about the crime stats. This is the lowest crime in 30 years, lowest violent crime in 30 years. Where did I put that? There we go. Let's just look at this. Is FBI data. So we're over here, and what you can see is that during COVID there was a dip in violent crime because no one allowed to do anything, but we're right back up in like in 2023 it peaked, but we're basically at 2020, 2019 levels. It looks like it's been fairly flat since, 2004. And you can say, well, if it's been fairly flat since 2004, it doesn't seem like there's much of an emergency. I could say valid, but it's not the lowest violent crime in 30 years. Here it is. You can see it. It's not. 2021 probably was. There was this guy, Jeffalytics. I don't know, some Substack thing, but The dude's name is Jeff Asher. And he has, let's see, he's got some info on here. What are you laughing at already?
Enormous surge. Carjackers.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. I don't want to subscribe. I just want to read you for free. All right. Clearly shows the city's trends. Murders consistently falling. Carjacking had an enormous surge. Was falling consistently since 2023. So measuring DC's... No.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It keeps like... There we go.
I don't want to do
It like did it on its own.
Yeah. Violent crime in D.C. is down a huge amount from where it was in the 90s. Hold on. There we go. Violent crime in D.C. fell in 2024 after increasing in 2023. That much is clear from D.C.'s reporting to the FBI. The exact picture of 2025 is a bit murkier, though. The violent crime is likely falling this year. D.C.'s open data is likely overstating the degree to which the decline. So, basically, the big part here, so you can see some charts, like their murder rate, still not good. It's still a bad murder rate. It's not as bad as it was in 1991, but worse than it was in 2011, you know? Let's see, Washington, D.C. murders on a 12-month average. Okay, that one's just... So on 12-month average, you see it's kind of at around a high if you take a 12-month rolling average. Carjacking is, back down from 2024, but basically it's not good. Juvenile arrest, not good, but better than it was in 2024. But one of the big things that they talk about in here is, this might be here. If you look closely, you might see something unexpected in the above table from the DC Police website. The city publishes crime categories loosely based around Uniform Crime Report Part 1 offense types, but not exactly. These numbers are based on DC Code offense definitions and do not reflect Part 1 crime totals. So instead of publishing data on aggravated assaults, we get assaults with a deadly weapon. Instead of data on rips, we get sex abuse offenses. That's not inherently problematic, but comparing what is being published by DC to the numbers being reported to the FBI suggests that the department's website is overstating the decline in violent crime over the last 2 years. Violent crime is still declining, but probably not as much as being reported. Basically, all that says is the city cops, or the city itself, is getting clever in the way it reports its data, but when they feed the data to the FBI, they're being less clever in actually providing the data. So as much as things, they can go, lowest in 30 years, it's like, well, when you look at the crime you reported to the FBI that they consider violent crimes, they say it is not. So there's that. All right. I think that's all I wanted to talk about on that. I don't know. I've heard from some Fox Newsy type people that seem they think this is going to be good, and they think it's going to really spearhead some rolling change that'll, have positive societal impacts across the globe. Really push how important order and respect are.
I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid. Nope. Nothing is... No. It's... I just think... I hope I'm wrong. I just think it's just a test. And if it goes well, whatever that means to the people that are facilitating it, that it will spread.
Well, I do hope you're wrong. I think they don't get the thing revoked. I don't think, you get the votes for it. This is a complicated issue. Because you're also trying to get the Congress to vote to take over all the municipal duties. It's like, yeah, that's what they want to do. They want to sit there like, I got to go back to D.C. to do a committee on graffiti, So I think what happens is they take the full 30 days and they keep everything, strict and whatever. And then they show, look how much crime decreased during this 30-day period. And, we think the D.C. police should do this and da-da-da-da-da. And I don't know. They use it as a flex somehow, but it's ultimately kind of a short-term thing is how I think it'll end up shaking out.
Like a GOP flex?
Yeah. Like a Trump flex. Like he'll be able to, look, it's just that easy. And, of course, you go, well, not everybody can call every federal law enforcement agency to, like, treat the streets like martial law, Yeah.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah, for sure. But it is, like, the interesting thing is how much Democrats are, like, there's definitely the protests, and there's definitely opposition through stat manipulation. But they're not screaming, The mayor of D.C. is like, I don't like this. There are, I forget what they're called, like, not councilmen, but district, whatever. They're just like, well, I mean, Trump's not totally wrong about crime. Even members of the press are just like, yeah, like, people get carjacked. We have people mugged right outside of here. And so there's a lot of left-wing people who, like, live and work in D.C. They're like, it is pretty bad. Like, you used to be able to walk the streets. You can't walk the streets. And it does seem to be largely teenagers.
Weird.
Yeah. And like I was telling you before we were recording here that, middle schoolers are the top demographic as far as increases in gun possessions and gun crimes. Middle schoolers. And so, it's under 18 won't be doing any time type of thing, I imagine, mixed with like a very lax prosecutor's office. I think that's probably the 1-2 combo that's leading to this is talk about doing a little juvie, whatever. Maybe, I mean, clearly you don't have any guidance at home. And D.C. did. I mean, we can never forget D.C.'s greatest mayor of all time, Marion Barry. He was mayor. He had to do a little time because of the whole caught smoking crack with a prostitute on camera thing.
Oh, yeah.
It was a sting operation. There's the mayor smoking crack like Hunter Biden with a prostitute like Hunter Biden. And, after he gets out, he runs for mayor again. And he wins. And he basically was like, I don't smoke crack anymore. There you go. Good enough for me. And so, you see in the 90s when that hump's real bad up there, you go, yeah, maybe Mayor Barry was not the best at fighting crime, drug crime, like the crack epidemic. Baron Barry's out there like, I can solve this. If I smoke all the crack, there won't be any more crack. Well, I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see how all that goes. It's another like odd move that I didn't really see coming from the Trump administration. And I don't know. I don't know how it turns out to be anything really positive, neutral at best. Maybe he can get a couple little braggy points that won't really mean much to people, other than like, Fox Newsy people wanting to dunk on blue cities. Trump cleaned up crime 30 days. That's all it took. 30 days. Trump did it. You can't do it. So, I think that might be the extent of this. And maybe that's the point. Maybe he's trying to maybe he's trying to get blue cities that have crime issues. Be like, hey, why don't y'all think about not electing a Democrat? New York City is about to have a big election. Maybe it is sort of even though it's specifically D.C. here, maybe the idea is to plant a seed to look at a different party for mayor and governor and council person and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. That might be giving too much credit. All right. I guess one of the other updates, I don't think. So, Israel has announced the IDF chief approved a new Gaza plan. And basically, it is that Gaza City, and likely much more of Gaza, will be temporarily occupied by the Israeli military, which they said previously they wouldn't do. But now they're saying they're going to do it. And it's part of a 5 point, where Where's this 5-point thing? All right. 5 principles to end the war. 1, Hamas is disarmed. 2nd, all hostages freed. 3rd, profit. No. 3rd, Gaza demilitarized. Which is kind of, if Hamas is disarmed, wouldn't that be the same thing? Or is 3rd leaving? Probably not. 4th, Israel has overriding security control. Feels like still militarized.
Yeah.
And 5, non-Israeli peaceful civil administration. By that, I mean a civil administration that doesn't educate its children for terror, that doesn't pay terrorists, and doesn't launch terrorist attacks against Israel. So basically, they're going to sit there, try and disarm and kill all of Hamas, get all their hostages back. I don't know what demilitarized means. Once you get rid of Hamas, what's the military?
Well, the Israeli military would be in place.
Yeah, I know. But that stays, because 4th is that Israel has overriding security control. So maybe they're saying they take the military out, but we all agree we're in charge of security, which kind of means they're going to be back in there. And, then your new council, your new leadership will be friendly to Israel.
Non-Israeli.
Non-Israeli. Friendly. Yeah. Which is... It's a new tact. Have I told you my prediction for the way these next 3 years are going to go?
3? No. Why is it 3?
Trump administration.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. So this is my Nosfrancus. Wait, not Nosferatu. What's the other guy? Nostradamus. Nostrafrancus. There we go. I always go for Nosferatu. That ain't it. Nostrafrancus. All right. So, and this looks like it's making it a lot easier. So there's going to be a continued series of strikes against Israel. Israel soldiers or missile launches intercepted. Whatever. I mean, this is definitely going to help. And, of course, to that, they will need to respond. I think most of these attacks will kind of work their way, I would guess, north to south, but maybe they're both on the north and the south ends of Gaza. But I think they're going to go north to south. And so it'll be boom, boom, boom. And so suddenly some of these buildings that aren't destroyed, more get destroyed. And they keep going, look, peaceful. We're trying to get our hostages back, people. We just want our hostages back. And then, it'll be kind of treading water. Then something happens. Boom, 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 boom. So then, by, in a couple of years, everyone's just looking at at some point, it'll be water. It'll be power. It'll be a strike that is more than just buildings falling. You go, the infrastructure, man, the infrastructure. Like, what are we going to do about this? So then the humanitarian thing, like, we need a place that these Palestinian citizens can be safe, where they can live, have electricity, have water, have shelter. Hamas has made this place unbearable. And so then the big push will be Trump going around trying to make deals with Qatar, Jordan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia maybe, and saying, how many Palestinian refugees can you commit to? Because I think Qatar currently has something like 74. Yeah, they have a very odd small number where they go, we'll take 2 families. And then, a couple years later, they go, well, they had kids. But Qatar and Saudi Arabia has been pushing to westernize a lot. Qatar wants to as well. They both, want to be Dubai type things. They want global tourism. They want global impact. They want everybody's money. And, but they don't want to just be thought of as Arab nations or Arabs. They want to be
Terrorist funding.
Well, they don't want to be thought of as that either. But they want to, because they buy soccer teams already. They got the airline. They already do some stuff. Golf, casinos. But I think they want to bring instead of just going out and having fun in Dubai or Miami or Vegas or whatever. I think they were like, hey, why don't y'all start to come here to have fun and kind of open up global travel and all that. So I think you go, listen, Maybe you take 100.
I know exactly where you're going with this.
Well, it's like maybe you build a town. Maybe you build a town, not like not in Riyadh, but you got all that space over there. Why don't you build a town over there for them? And take. Can we get you 50,000, 100,000 people? All right, shake your hands, and in return, we'll help you. I don't know. We'll help facilitate you getting American tourism or something. We'll build a casino for you. You'll get a Trump Tower. But, you do that Qatar, you do that Saudi Arabia, you go Egypt, Jordan, and you go, look, they're taking 100,000. You're a bigger, better country, I think. Maybe you can take 200,000. And I think that becomes like the only humanitarian thing to do. I think there'll be some pushback, of course. But I think even like some of the lefties and stuff, even like the Frances and Germany and England, I think some of them just go, look, it's not ideal. It's not how we would have drawn it up, but they can't live there. That place is destroyed. They have no clean water. They have, we can't rebuild it in time. It's just impossible. And so at this point, we just need to find some place for them to go. And I think that we start hearing that sometime in the next 3 years. And then, Gaza is free of Gazans. And then, then what are you going to do? Now it's got this empty land. Time to just demo the thing. Oh, also the oil field off the coast, which has more oil than off the coast of Alaska. You start drilling to that. So now you have Israel with its tech sector, with its services and sciences and all that, and also more oil than Saudi Arabia. Well, I don't know if it'd be more than Saudi Arabia, but imagine Israel with that kind of oil access too.
And precious metals.
Yeah. And so, like, I don't know. I think with that, because I think that's a big part of it too, is they're obviously Israel's doing fine as a nation, but they're not doing oil-rich fine. Because if you keep all that going and now you add oil-rich to it, and maybe you can send some of that oil to somebody, maybe to America, maybe you send it to England, maybe you go, hey, America, with this pipeline, maybe they buy from us and not Russia. Maybe we can do a pipeline to Germany. Not a lot of good happened to our people in Germany back then, but I think today we can forgive. I don't know. But, so I don't know. That's kind of because this is the time. If you're ever going to get rid of Palestinians in Gaza, it's going to be the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Because at some point this thing has to end. So you gotta churn through it, but you gotta give everybody a way to support your ethnic cleansing. I
almost thought that Trump would somehow convince Bibi to piece off some of the land that Israel is controlling, like i.e. Gaza, to those countries.
Oh.
Like, hey, do you want to expand your borders and take these people?
You think he's going to...
I don't know.
You think he's going to get rid of that many Arabs and just invite that many back in?
I mean, not to say he's expanding Israel, but he's expanding Israel.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe...
So if he gives off a little piece, it's not a lot, but maybe it makes things friendly. I don't know.
Yeah, you go, hey, for this little piece, like, we'll give you this chunk and you get this many... Maybe. I think all this, especially when you're making claim, it's the Holy Land, it's this, that, and the other. Like all the property or all the land is very valuable. I think it's hard to piece it off to an Arab nation after that, especially after you ethnically cleanse the area of all the Arabs.
Except for the ones in Israel.
Yeah. Well, they're not trying to... That's the thing, and it's, the Israeli... So Israel is a country of people, not talking about the government, but a country of people. There's diverse religions there. There are Muslims and Christians and Jews and Hindus, and there's a diverse mix of people. Like we've talked about, on their government, there's a whole political party. That's an Arab political party that believes Israel does not have a right to exist as a country, and they're allowed to be part of the government. So in a number of ways, Israel is very... friendly to sort of a freedom of speech type, freedom of religion, freedom of gathering type thing in many ways. Just not in Gaza. And not great in the West Bank either. But
Not here, but right here.
pretty much. All right. I guess we don't have time for the Netanyahu video on the water. Yeah, you want to?
Yeah.
All right. I know how much you like it. So this is the other thing that was just announced. We'll let old BB talk about it. And we're not sure. We probably should have looked it up. We're not sure if this is AI having him speak English or if he actually did this delivery in English. But, it kind of delivers different messages. And I guess even if he was fluent in Arabic, he probably wouldn't. Is it Farsi they speak in Iran? What do they speak?
I have no idea.
I think it's Farsi. Anyway, even if he's fluent, maybe kind of like, I'm not going to speak the enemy's language, but English, everybody speaks English. It could be a middle ground. Anyway, he's got thoughts on Iran's having some issues right now with some water. And, I don't know, BB's pitching things. Here we go.
Greetings from Jerusalem to the proud people of Iran.
I don't think it's AI.
Your leaders forced a 12-day war on us, and they lost miserably. They lie through their teeth, but on rare occasions, they tell the truth. A few days ago, the Iranian president said, "We have problems with water, electricity, money, and inflation. Where don't we have a problem? There
Pineapple
won't
pizza.
be any water in the dams by September or October." He's right. Everything is collapsing. In this brutal summer heat, you don't even have clean, cold water to give your children. Such hypocrisy.
We'll edit there.
Such disdain for the Iranian people. To live like this is not fair to you. It's not fair to your children. But I have very good news.
Oh, what is it?
Israel is the #1 recycler of water in the world.
Drink RP.
We recycle 90% of our wastewater.
Drink
We
RP.
lead the world in desalination. We know exactly
Salty
what
P.
to do. So Iran can also have plentiful water. Almost a decade ago, I opened a Telegram channel in Farsi to teach
Farsi,
water
yeah.
management to Iranians. 100,000 Iranians joined almost instantly. The thirst for water in Iran is only matched by the thirst for freedom. So here's the great news. The moment your country is free, Israel's top water experts will flood into every Iranian city, bringing cutting-edge technology and know-how. We will help Iran recycle water. We'll help Iran desalinate water. And what would that look like?
You drinking our
Just
salty
imagine
pee.
water skiing again in the Karaj Dam with your family. Imagine walking hand in hand with your partner next to the bountiful river in Farachzad, which is now completely dried up.
Ugh.
Imagine the parched trees in Yavaran,
Yavaran.
Dalban,
No.
getting as much plentiful water as the trees in IRGC strongholds. Imagine restoring
Yeah.
the once stunning Urmia Lake in the northwest of Iran. Well, all this is not a dream. This can be your reality. But instead of making this a reality, your dictators impose tyranny and poverty upon you, just as they impose war on us. For 46 years, you've been denied the most basic human rights. The right to express yourself freely, to write, speak, sing, whatever you please. I have here the books of
Sin?
All right, that's what I heard. Right to sin.
Impressive
I guess without getting
Iranian
stoned to death.
who write the truth and speak the truth, but it's published outside Iran. Such repression, such
He
cruelty.
has a book on his shelf called
You, the
BB.
descendants of Cyrus the Great, you deserve much more. You don't deserve leaders who flee the country while you suffer alone during a difficult war. Neda and Navid could have brought Iran glory and gold. Instead, they are killed and banished. So much
Cyrus
money
the
is
Great.
burned to hell. The tyrants of Tehran preferred sending hundreds of billions of dollars, not to you, to Hamas, to Hezbollah, to the Houthis, instead of funding your hospitals, your schools, and your roads. It doesn't have to be this way.
Cyrus the Great was a Persian leader that started an
Bold and
empire.
brave, to dare to dream. Take risks for freedom, for your future, for your families. It's worth it.
He looks like a
Take to the
mouse, doesn't he?
streets. Demand justice. Demand accountability. Protest tyranny.
It's one way to
Build
describe
a better
him.
future for your families and for all Iranians. Do not let these fanatic mullahs ruin your lives for a minute longer. And know this.
I hate those
You are
fanatic
not
mullahs.
I stand with you.
Oh, good.
Israel stands with you.
Great.
The entire free world stands with you.
Super.
The tyrants of Tehran, so cruel, so callous, so cowardly, they won't last long. You know that.
Seem to be doing
History
pretty
will
good.
record that.
Backhanded threat.
Soon your country will be free. Water will be plentiful. Your economy will recover and thrive.
You will have wet
Your
t-shirt
children will be
contests.
glorious and carefree again. As our founding father Theodore Herzl said of the Jewish state, if you will it, it is no dream. And I say to you, if you will it, a free Iran is no dream. Now is the time for action. Now is the time to fight for freedom. Iran bariyeh Irani.
You heard the man. So you want water? Just overthrow your government. It's worked pretty good for you in the past with those protests. Just anyway, we'll help you have water. Just overthrow your government. Couple things. It sounds like the IRCG or GC. CG. Anyway, sounds like they might be hogging the water because he said, imagine if these trees were as beautiful as areas, managed by them. You go, yeah, all right, well, I can see that. That's normally how, dictatorships and stuff like that go. You take all the stuff first. But yeah, it does sound like a threat that they won't be there long.
But Israel has also taken out water infrastructure.
I don't know about that. Was that? I'm not sure about that.
I mean, you got a cool nuclear uranium refining factories.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Yeah, I guess they did. Yeah, it is one of those weird things where you go, it's an odd, I guess if you're an Iranian citizen after, that war, you do go, oh, wow, well, these guys cannot defeat Israel, at all. And, America, with or without America, but, they are not as strong as they seem. So maybe dissidents do start getting a little, all right. And so I don't know. I mean, say what you will, he is pretty good at this, where he's showing knowledge of different regions and speaking of the regions with affection, talking about a Persian Empire establisher as a positive person and all that kind of stuff. I mean, he's good at what he does.
I mean, it's probably, the Arab citizens in Israel he's probably speaking to as well, at the same time. They might have family in Iran, who knows? He's probably hitting multiple corners, I guess you could say.
Well, yeah, it does show, oh, no, look at me, and I guess other Arab nations, too, look how sympathetic I am. Ignore the Gaza thing, but look how look how sympathetic I am to the plight of these people, in this country that just attacked us out of the blue just because we dropped bombs on them. It's but look, I care about Israel cares about the Arabs with my BB book on my shelf and everything. But yeah, I think he goes, listen, would you like Sydney Sweeney to come for a wet t-shirt contest? You need water. You don't have water, but you can turn your pee into water and throw it on Sydney Sweeney. Bada bing, bada boom, overthrow your government.
It's the best pitch ever.
Everyone's like, yeah, what'd you just say? Well, I wasn't thinking about fighting, but...
You can sin. I love this guy.
Freedom to sin. I mean, yeah, I guess freedom to sin without getting stoned to death. And I guess if showing your face is a sin, because there are the different levels of sin. It's not all murder and banging some dude's wife or something, There's also showing your face or walking next to a fella.
Or speaking.
Or being assaulted by a stranger, a strange man and not stopping him. But also it'd be a sin to strike him, of course, too. Anyway, just, I don't know. Just after you get assaulted, just kind of, do everyone a favor. Just shove off. So yeah, I don't know. It's It's an odd thing. He's an odd guy. But I don't know. I guess it's just plant seeds, and if the Iranian people overthrow the government, then Israel doesn't have to. Of course, Israel. I mean, there will be people over there helping from both the CIA and Mossad, of course. But
They recycle 90% of their water.
that's what he said.
Why doesn't everybody then?
Probably because we have fresh water.
But yeah,
We go, I don't want to pour pee on my plants. Why don't I just put water on it? We go, oh, okay, yeah. Why don't you do that? All right. I mean, yeah, because technically speaking, you can recycle all that water to drinkable, bacteria-free water. That's very possible. My dad used to do it for a living. He would take out horrible stuff, and it's something where a municipality would never serve it to the citizens because it was just politically not great. But they might send it to a prison. I don't know, but it's safe. It's provably safe. So I doubt they're consuming it though. I think they're probably using it for all the lawns and
irrigation.
yeah, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. What's your final thoughts on this?
I mean, I think it was a good speech. I just, he's just, every politician's got multiple plays going on.
Oh, yeah.
So
good ones, at least.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out, because he's speaking, and then who knows what our government is doing coinciding with this.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a good old-fashioned, plant the seeds of revolution, get a coup going. If you can get people in the streets like you had in Ukraine, then, you take a couple of well-trained agents in there to just, light the fuse. If people are having trouble kind of kicking it off, you go, hey, there we go. Now what do we think, people? And, yeah, I think it's just another Iran's weak right now. And so figuring out different ways. But, yeah, they do have a massive drought issue. So it's been a hotter summer than normal. There is serious mismanagement from the government. Someone may have taken infrastructure offline hither or thither during conflict or otherwise. But, yeah, so a bunch of different things going on. So it's, you go, hey, you're about to not have water. How's that feel? You might want to topple your government while you can still refresh yourself.
And Israel's very good at controlling water.
Apparently. Yeah.
Gaza.
Yep. All right. Well, we're gonna leave it on old BB. Hold on, but we're gonna have to do this real quick. We're gonna leave it on BB making this face. Look at that. BB says, like and subscribe. Sign up for alerts. YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, all the things. He's judging you. He knows what you did.
It's harsh, too.
Yeah, he knows what you've been doing in the bathroom taking so long. He sees you. He sees you. Look at that. That is a stare down. Yeah. All right. What you got for the people? BB Bean? Bean B?
Let's go with the factoid of the day. A silverback gorilla can lift over 1,763 pounds.
Holy cow, that's almost a ton. I don't know why everyone always wants to talk about people beating up gorillas and bears and stuff. Just don't do it unless it's the war for the Planet of the Apes. But even then, use guns. That's how we killed old Harambe. Won that fight. All right, well, until next week. Yeah, drink RP.